For context, with listening to this interview, we suggest having a look at the links provided within the description box, where we have walked a process in writing explaining the existence of suicidal tendencies within the mind, meaning where one have moments of thoughts or imaginings of committing suicide. And we very clearly and specifically and practically walk you through the process in explaining how such things come to manifest in the mind and how to assist and support oneself in relationship to them, in primarily realizing what they are, where they come from, and how we create them. In this interview, we're going to have a look at expanding on that particular point, meaning how do such thoughts and imaginings exist, and to realize how we can change our relationship to them. So when a thought comes up of, for example, seeing oneself standing in front of a train and the train coming towards one, or seeing oneself walking into traffic and a car running one over, or seeing oneself throwing oneself off of a bridge and falling to death, or seeing oneself overdosing on drugs or medications and slowly but surely fade into death. I mean, many have, for example, had such thoughts or imaginings come up of ways or means or methods of committing suicide. The question is, when are human beings going to realize that these thoughts or imaginings do not have power over you? Yes, such thoughts are accompanied by emotions, where it's like such thoughts or imaginings embody how one feel and what that feeling and emotion motivates you to want to do to yourself or with yourself. But again, here a question: when are human beings going to realize that these emotions and feelings do not have power over you or power of you? But then again, in the moment of having such thoughts or imaginings or emotions, yes, they do have a power over you, because the moment you think about it and the moment you become overwhelmed by the feeling and experience that it creates, it's like in that moment, it's all that exists. Now, as I've mentioned, we have walked a series on suicide that I would suggest investing time and patience in reading, that explain suicide and how we create it in our own minds through memories, thoughts, and energy. And, where it's like when we become overwhelmed by the feelings and experiences that such thoughts and imaginings create, and in that moment feeling like it's all that exists, the mind tends to do that very well. When a point within us possesses us, it's like that's all that exists and there's nothing else, when there is. So the emphasis I would like to place here within this particular interview is the following: to realize that if you, in the moment, in your own mind, have the ability to create or produce such a thought or imagining of seeing yourself ending your life in some way or another, we can then sure as hell change what we create and produce in our minds, from rather than ending our lives to seeing how or what we can do to live it. I mean, have a look. Many suicidal tendencies manifest in our minds when we look at all the problems in our lives or relationships. It's like in our minds we only see everything that's wrong, and we don't realize how within this as we're participating in the energy, the emotions, the imaginings or thoughts, we're actually like creating a vicious cycle in our own heads. We keep on cycling in our minds with the imaginings, the thoughts, the self-talk, the emotion that comes up in relation to ending our lives, and then we react to it, and then we go into the emotions, and then we imagine more and think about it more and self-talk about it more over and over and over again. It's like to within this all realize that the thought or imagining is a projection in the mind. Just like one have the widescreen and project movies onto it, but then people believe in their minds they are the projection coming onto the widescreen, without understanding what is creating the projection as the movie or imagining or thought that comes up, where it exactly comes from, how the projector operates or functions, as well as the machinery thereof. Where do these things really in fact come from, and how are they created that's coming up as these imaginings and thoughts and emotions? So I would suggest investigating Desteni, the desteniiprocess light, as an introduction to understanding thoughts and imaginations, the things that we imagine, what creates it, where it comes from, and most importantly, how such suicidal thoughts or imaginings can be stopped and changed, with seeing, realizing, and understanding how they cannot hold power over and of one. If one take one's own power back and realize the power within oneself, where one can stand up within oneself and say, no, I will not accept and allow such thoughts or imaginings to define me, my actions, and so my life. I decide to stand up for me, for who I am, and not let thoughts or imaginations in the mind control me. We'll continue more in the next interview. Thank you.